Happy Saturday. Good morning, Lions. Good afternoon for some. Previously on Kimba TV. I was here last night, so make sure you get caught up. We were talking about the 7505 rotation last night. So last night we were like, ooh, could we come here? We wanted to long here. And then basically based off of this reaction, we were like, it's going to probably go to here. And so that's why we ended it last night. Shout outs to everybody that was here last night. How you guys doing? Who's all here right now? Who's all the degenerates? XLR says, no, I was going to go to sleep. Get some sleep, my guy. It's Saturday. So all I'm here for is to see if that gets swept, right? Full rotate. Stuff we talked about last night. Get some sleep, my guy. Yeah, if anything, you can always like have your alarm go off and see if you want to take that SFP. But you know me, I think we go lower. So who gives a fuck anyways? Go to sleep. Hey Blade, what's going on? Captain Gary says, what sweep you talking about? Just a single print step back up? No. Well, yeah, that could be one too. So that's the big one. That's the big one, right, Captain Gary? What we talked about last night was this bad low at 103.7. So we marked it here and we marked it on the other one as well. 103.7. All right. But that's just the full rotate, Captain Gary. So daily was above value area high. And then I explained how the PDPOC and PDEQ were all going to be support, but eventually the full rotate is to where? So the full rotate, the 104, also lines up with the first initial weak and poor low. So if you're going to just think about, okay, that's going to hold. If you're somebody that is really bullish and you think that's going to hold and you're going to make a higher low, then that's your prime level for a possible long. Make sense, Captain Gary? But did you hear what I just said? You guys know what I think. I don't think this is a good long. I think this all gets cleaned anyways. So maybe on a Saturday, yeah, you get a little bit of a bounce here. I don't know. You feel me? But you understand that that's a weak and poor low, and it lines up perfectly with full rotate. So if you're somebody that is a little bit more bullish and you think that that low is going to hold over the weekend, then that's probably something that you're going to take. I don't think it will bounce, but there's been plenty of times where I was like, it's not going to bounce, and it fucking bounces. So you got to make a decision on if you want to play that. And it is a Saturday, so do you. And as always, brother, I don't care if you're going to long it or not long it. All I care is that you were prepared for the full rotate and you witnessed you noticed the poor and weak low yourself. All right, Gary, happy Saturday. You good? All right. Gary says, I'll just ask my 10-year-old nephew. I'm sure he knows as long as he's been watching the highlights. But if he hasn't been, he might be just as fucked as you. Yeah. As long as he's been watching the highlights, exclamation YouTube. Yeah, but we had a 9-year-old that was trying to do a presentation about bad lows and bad highs. I think it was 10 days ago. Somebody's kid did a presentation. I think it was a 9-year-old or something like that. That was sick as fuck. So I don't know if you're joking, but literally there was a 9-year-old that explained it. So your nephew should be able to, as long as he's been watching the highlights. All right, big dog. Ace says he did great. Yeah, no, it was amazing. Probably Asian kid. It wasn't an Asian kid. Yeah. Yeah, but he did. It was dope. It was dope. I mean, it was just the best that you would see for like a 10-year-old explaining a bad low, bad high. But yeah. Shout outs to people and their kids showing up on PSG trying to explain stuff. Very, very cool. I mean, wait until baby Mandelo can say more than goo goo gaga. Yo, it's game over. All right, any other questions? Big Pin the Boss says, I don't know, please, thank you. Sure. So make sure you go and watch the Mandela one, but let me give you like an easy way to understand it, Big Pin. Well, you need to know what point of control and TPO point of control and what the difference between volume point of control and TPO point of control is. But for example, what is volume point of control? It's where they had the most amount of action at that price, right? What is TPO point of control? It's where it spent the most amount of time at that price. Okay? Now, what is a single print? It is literally the quantifiable representation of YOLO. Okay? So it's basically you don't want to spend that much. You're not spending any time in that price action. So for example, you want single prints to the downside like this. You see this? All these single prints? It means, so what that means is, are we gonna spend time down there? Nope. You spent no time there. You want the single prints to the bottom and to the top. That means it's a good buying or a good selling tail. Okay? If you have single prints in the middle of price action, it means it didn't spend enough time, so you don't know if it's good or not. So what happens is the markets will go, hey, motherfucker, are you really bearish? If you grab all the single prints, that's why you negate all the edge. That's why you want to leave the single prints. So, for example, they left all the single prints. The market came to say, hey, you motherfuckers actually bullish? Since they didn't grab all the single prints, that's the market's reaction of saying, yup, we actually are for the time being. Okay? So a single print is the inverse opposite of a point of control. A TPO point of control, you spent a lot of time there. Volume point of control, you spent a lot of volume there. Okay? So a single print is the complete opposite. You spent no time there. Okay? So where would you want to spend no time there? At lows and highs. Okay? That's why when you have let me look for like a good, like, see, like this is, that's why this is all fucked. This is why this is all bad. Look, 2 blocks. 1, 2, that's that's 2. So that's bad, that's that's bad. So this is weak and unfinished as a group. That's why we have the open the gates. So at some point, this is all gonna get cleaned. That's not good. This is too much uncertainty. Are we gonna reject here? I don't know. Are we going to reject here? I don't know. Are we going to reject here? I don't know. So the market's going to come and say, are we motherfuckers are actually going to reject here? And then that's when you want to see a, yes, we are going to reject here. That's what an SFP is. That's what a selling tail is. That's when you want that's when you want the single prints to look like this. This is literally, I don't know. It's unsure. The market doesn't know if you're supposed to reject here or not. Okay? So that is a poor and weak high. So that's going to get cleaned at some point. Alrighty. You want something like, can you see how many this is? You see how it's 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good. 1 is bad. 2 is so-so. Okay? 3 is good. 3 and above. That's it? All right, so make sure that now what the thing is you need to be able to understand tick size. Okay, when do you use a bigger tick? When do you use a smaller tick? My girlfriend said tick size doesn't matter. Shut the fuck up. That's not what I'm talking about. All right, any other questions? Basically, you want to learn when to use 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, okay? For ticks. Did that help? Who was the guy that was asking? Whoever that was. So the term weak low, is that referring to the number of ticks? 1 or 2 is weak? No. The term weak is referring to the collection of lows. You could have a collection of 3 good. So look, you could have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of these individually could be good lows, but that is what's going to make it poor and weak. So having 1 is a bad low. 2 is 3 is good. 3 or more is good. 2 or more is good. Okay, the good and the bad is individual. The poor and the weak is talking about the collection of. Okay, because you can think about it. What if you were on 30-second? What if these were 30-second candles? Okay, if you zoom out and put it on the 5-minute, it's probably going to look bad. I'm still in it, don't fall. Yeah, it's still open. So, I shaved a little bit at VWAP. I shaved a little bit at VWAP, but it was like less than 10%. So I did like a round number, and I just made sure that it was less than 10%. So I can't. Yeah. So and I don't know if you've noticed, don't fall, but I always shave a little bit at VWAP, and especially if it's a TradFi trade, I think it's always good to do it, because depending on what premium or what type of contract, or if it's options, you might not necessarily have protection from the Sunday ETH volatility. So. Yeah, we'll see if we can continue down, but I basically shaved enough where I think if it has like a crazy round trip, yeah, I'll just get broken even. Yeah, but we left the day with bouncing from VWAP and hopefully doing the bearish retest of the RTH high and the point of control. So theoretically, I think what I would prefer is RTH can open with like a bearish gap. It would be dope if RTH opened like this and the reaction at market open is something like this. And then we can leave it like that. Yeah, but I don't know if we're going to get exactly what we want. Just remember how these gaps all kind of played. So like you see this one, for example, it opened. So look, gap, it opened, right? It dipped and it ripped. Okay, all the bullish gaps, open, dip, rip. It'll always test it, and then, so on the bearish side, you want the same thing. You want a gap like that. It'll test it and then go back down. All right, see it? Open, dip, go. Yeah, so anyways, I will know don't fall like on Sunday if I need to just be like, I need to get out of this. Yeah, or if it's in my favor. So Sunday, tomorrow evening. Are you in the US? 6 p.m. New York time, markets will come back. All right, the futures anyways. So if you want to, you could Google like RTH gap and nerd out a little bit more if you want to on what would make it bullish, what would be not bullish, what would make it bearish, what would make it not bearish. How many of y'all would be? How many of y'all were here for the secret Sol ETH baby TA last night? I might pick like one or two more later tonight and do another one of those silent TAs. Yeah, but I'm 100% ready to go on Sol. How many of y'all got to see that last night, the Sol TA? I'm ready to go on Sol. You guys excited? ETH is still up in the air because the only thing that we really have is that SFP. And so if that SFP doesn't work, it's going to be a bigger pullback. And obviously, I'm going to just wait for ETH BTC to get more bullish at that point. So, Seza says, do you have any recommendations where I can trade S&P and not on Bybit because I'm from EU and there isn't a TradFi, or do you think I should use VPN? Yeah, I mean, how much money? Like, just because it depends on if you want to do it the right way, Seza. The right way would be to go through the brokerage or whoever is registered and legalized to allow you to trade traditional markets. So if you were in the US, I would just tell you to open a TD Ameritrade or Interactive Brokers or a I would ask you where you bank at and see if you can if they'll give you like a gateway access. Yeah, if you're gonna do options, then pretty much like even opening up a super retail friendly place like Robinhood would be fine. Yeah, if you actually want to get involved in longing, shorting, and like actually doing it the legal way, like borrowing shares, then you're gonna have to, get registered and do all the KYC, AML stuff anyways, and have the backing of a bank probably. So yeah, it usually the place where you bank at, assuming that you have like private banking already established, like a private banking or a wealth management relationship established, it's basically like a line of credit at that point. All right, I got to start wrapping it up. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Charts are okay? You guys okay? Mordecai, I'm going to be dipping out, but I've been here for about 3 hours, so you can always rewind and kind of get caught up. Jingao says, I have the intelligence running from me. Yeah, I'm not worried about you, Jingao. I know you have extremely good risk management and you're not going to lose. I was really talking more to the Lion Cubs, but you're good. I know you're not going to lose, and so that wasn't really towards you. Seza says, like right now, I'm in a short from 109 on BTC. Either I'm going to 98K or lower. No. You should be. How much have you realized so far, Seza? Seza, you do realize that there is a possibility that this is the local low and it will not go any lower than this. That it retraced back to the 0.75 of the whole move. And if you think there is zero chance that this could be the low, you're tripping. Right? So you know that there's a chance that this could be the low. So what would happen? What would you see for this to start to say, hey, maybe this is the low? Well, I could see this happening. If it does this to convince me that it's going to just start making shitty lows, it would have to what? Basically make a higher high and change structure. Okay? It cannot swing fail here, get back up, swing fail at the 7.5, clean all the bad highs, grab the single print, and then come back down and make another lower low. So you have a lot to kind of be prepared for, but no, you shouldn't be in a 90K or nothing. There's you need to be realizing and shaving a little bit at levels that could indicate that it's going to keep going higher. Okay? I'm rethinking if I should have taken something on 102.8. You should have, yes, because that's the 7.5. Now, we can debate about if you should have shaved 1% or 30% or 2% or 50%, but some sort of shaving should have been. Because what it is, SZA, the shaving has not. Some people are going to think that shaving is like some sort of negative thing that you're saying. I don't have confidence in the short anymore. TPing a short doesn't mean you're not that confident that it could go lower. And that's a little bit of a weird mentality to have. Again, that's like, I think, the greedy and the gambling type of way of thinking about it. Shaving is your milestone to take profit. It's a goal. It's a part of your journey that where you say, awesome. You know, like imagine having like a 50K a marathon. Like it's goal. You have goals, right? To reach the end. So it's the acknowledgement that your journey is doing a good job and it's continuing. It's not, some people think it's like backtracking or losing confidence on the short. For me, it's the acknowledgement. It's like celebrating. All right, we got here. Let's shave a little bit. Now let's keep going. It's the celebration of the trade working, not a betrayal of the short idea. Some people are tripping. Like some people think that if I were to TP a short, that it's signifying that I don't think that it's going to go lower or I have less confidence. That's not right at all. It's always like the way you think about shit, you know? TPing should be a celebration and acknowledgement of the trade working. Some greedy weirdos might think, oh, you're shaving a little bit because you don't think it's going to go lower. What? It's a weird fucking way, greedy ass way to look at it. But yeah, shaving is just an acknowledgement that the trade is doing what it's supposed to do. So, yeah, it's always just ways to think about it, brother. You gotta start like it. A lot of things in trading can seem counterintuitive in the very beginning, right? I might say something like, I only want a long when all the longs get stopped out. And people will be like, what? That doesn't make sense. You know? I'll say shit like, I'm looking for longs when we're dumping. And some people might be like, what? I thought we were shorting this. So sometimes you just have to start looking at it from the market maker perspective and not being the victim and, you know, the animal like that's lower on the food chain. Yeah. And it's just like, it's the same thing with life, dude. Like there's one way to think and then there's the winning way to think. You know what I mean? And more often than not, the winning way, the special way, you know, that makes these extraordinary, amazing human beings is the harder way, the more, you know, less people think about, the less people want to think about. Yeah, so trading will really open your eyes into like how you're really supposed to think, you know, how the winners are actually thinking. And it's also usually the opposite of what you think you're supposed to do. Yeah, but that's what makes it so fun. All right, I got to wrap it up and get out of here. Love you guys, man. These are the levels. I'll put it back on Exo. How many of you guys are going to be here if I pop back in like 8-9 hours from now? 50-50 that I'll show up later tonight. But if I don't show up later tonight, I'll see you guys in the morning tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys later. Maybe later, maybe tomorrow. Bugatti juice. Gotta be testnet. Exclamation Discord, exclamation YouTube. Which is so far. All right, have a great weekend, y'all. Peace, everybody. Bugatti juice.